Right, so I canceled my Netflix subscription, but before it was over, I wanted to make sure I do as much damage as I can, and started watching horror movies based on what it suggests on the horror movies front page. The Visit was the first suggestion, and I said, sure, let's visit, I guess. Okay, I was trying to make a joke, but there really is no joke here, sorry about that. So two kids decide to visit their grandparents that they've been estranged from since their birth. Actually, no, wait. A single mom decides to send their children away because she's had enough of them and needs a break. Now, while I am no expert, I think it's wise to show your children pictures of their grandparents just to make sure they know who to look for when they arrive at the station. And I just realized that she was probably hoping they'd never come back. One of the kids, Tyler, looks like he's wearing a wig for some reason, but my biggest gripe with him is that he's constantly rhyming about chicks and hoes and does some sort of slam poetry. Please stop. And Becca, she's got all her camera gear with her because she's filming a sort of documentary of her mother for her mother. Not super exciting. But anyway, the kids arrive and the grandparents seem super chill. They're having fun cooking and playing and getting to know their grandparents. Then Tyler does his rap bit again, and you can tell it triggers something in Nana. Like, she's visibly upset by it. Something dark and evil wakes up within her, and we'll see this later. They even have a quick video chat with mom, but she doesn't want to see the grandparents because the movie would be spoiled and immediately over. Anyway, Tyler visits Pop-Pop's shed from afar and yells at Pop-Pop, and Pop-Pop just pops out of his shed, and he doesn't seem to hear Tyler. He just looks at him from afar, super upset. I get it. He was there when Tyler was rapping. But overall, everything seems fine until it's bedtime, of course. Becca, who didn't have any real food except for cookies, decides to speedrun through life by getting diabetes and wants to go for even more cookies at 10:30 p.m. And for some reason, she takes her camera with, but she explains that immediately to the viewer by saying, "Hey mom, I'm imitating how you might have been stealing cookies," possibly indicating that her mom was or is fat. Then suddenly Nana walks by puking all over the house, and we immediately see the consequences of Tyler's rap. Becca then just closes the door. She's like, nope, I'm good. Pop-Pop explains in the morning that Nana is just a little sick in her stomach and that it's pretty normal for her to do that. Does he mean lactose intolerance? Because I have lactose intolerance and I don't go walking around the house puking all over. I feel like it, especially if I drank a little bit too much milk, but I don't do it. Which begs the question, who cleaned the house? Was it Nana? Does she then walk around to find the puke spots to clean them up? Please feel free to subscribe and like the video. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Anyway, the house has a crawl space that's apparently bigger than my apartment. In fact, bigger than all the apartments I've ever lived in my entire lifetime, where the kids decide to play hide and seek the next morning. And turns out the kids hate old people because when Nana joins to play with them, they freak out. Nana is just crawling at them, making weird noises and saying, "I'm gonna get you, Tyler." I guess that's fair, you know, it is pretty messed up, not gonna lie. I wouldn't want to play with her either. And while this is happening, the kids don't hear each other's screams, even though they're like right next to each other. I don't get why Nana was doing that though. Calm down, Nana. The sun is still up. Stop sundowning while the sun is still up. We later find out that she has sundowning. They escape the crawl space and Nana quickly follows. It was an intense experience, and while nobody got hurt, I think it's safe to say that now is about the right time to get the out of there. Even for Nana's possibly delicious chicken pot pie, I would not want to enter that house again. Okay, we eat the chicken pot pie and then we're immediately out. But the kids don't understand adult logic of, nope, this is messed up, and just because I didn't die doesn't mean it's safe. So they just sit there like, okay, that happened. Dr. Sam visits the house, and he's there to check in on the grandparents. They haven't been answering their phone. Becca tells him that they're doing just fine instead of asking him if Nana running around the house at night, puking all over, is normal, or maybe if she forgot to take her meds. Later on, Tyler goes on another adventure to discover Pop-Pop's dirty laundry. Literally, it's adult diapers. But Tyler seems genuinely clueless and can't smell the shit that is easily smellable from behind the computer screen, basically. I mean, if you are a human and you've ever smelled shit at least once in your life, you'll know. But Tyler never did, apparently. So he grabs the diaper and opens it, and only after confirming with his eye socket that the shit falling down does he go, oh shit. Well, Tyler, you see, that's why we have 5 senses, buddy, and not only one. So that if you smell a bad thing, you can go, nope, not touching that, that smells bad. Or when you hear weird noises coming from outside your door at night, you say, nope, don't need to see that sounds horrible, just gonna lock the door and hope we don't die tonight. When Tyler confronts Nana, and I don't even know how one goes about this conversation, hey Nana, there were diapers in the shed filled with shit. Is Pop-Pop a shit collector? Anyway, Nana explains that Pop-Pop has issues holding his bowel movement, so he's wearing adult diapers, and later on burns them somewhere. But that looks like a billion diapers. I'm not sure what he's waiting on. Maybe for the whole barn to fill up so he can burn it all down and build a new one. or something. Later on, they go out for a drive. They just go to film this high school for the documentary, I guess. Then Pop decides to randomly assault a dude because he was staring at him, and the trip is over just like that. At this point, it's safe to say that grandparents are pretty crazy. It's a good idea to tell mom about it and get them the help that they desperately obviously need. Now, while Tyler does seem rightfully concerned, Becca continues to discriminate old people and says something like, old people, they get paranoid. Old people don't get paranoid. Paranoid people get paranoid. That is a red flag. Becca, wake the up. The next morning, Pop gets ready for a costume party, and we find out that Nana has indeed sundown syndrome. Though I doubt it has anything to do with the sun. This chick is insane. And I just called Nana a chick. Yep, that happened. Turns out Nana damaged Becca's laptop camera by smearing some sort of cookie dough on it. She tried cleaning it though, so it's cool. They have another video chat with mom, and Tyler tells about all the strange things happening, but turns out mommy is having way too much fun on the cruise to have it ruined now. So she reassures them that it's normal, that they're just old and not old and crazy. And I've never been on a cruise before, but did she say hairy chest competition? Do things like that really happen on cruises? What kind of weird ass celebration is that, and how do I sign up for it? Because I think I'd be a great contender. TMI? Yeah, I thought so. Time to clean the oven, and what better seasoning than the dirt of shoes worn outside? That's what happens when Anna asks Becca to clean the oven by getting inside of it. Look, I always found it weird how in TV shows and movies people never take out their shoes indoors, until I visited a friend from the US and realized, holy shit, yeah, they walk with shoes even indoors. I guess when you buy shoes, you want to make sure you're getting max value out of them. So it makes sense, I guess. But the fact that she steps inside the oven with shoes on is on another level of disgusting, in my opinion. Not eating a lasagna in that house, that's for sure. Maybe a chicken Popeye. Becca earns a one-to-one with Nana after helping with cleaning and tries to get that thing she calls the elixir. It's basically just trying to get her grandparents to forgive her mom on camera of leaving, and never coming back. Anyway, the moment she asks about mom, Nana's AI breaks. She freaks out. I guess that was the exact moment the sun had set. Wow. Another night arrives and Nana is yeeting around in the most disturbing and twisted ways possible. At this point, they know that Nana is freaking out, doing some batshit crazy stuff out there, but they decide let's open the door and look again. There's absolutely no reason for them to do this. None. I swear, people making stupid decisions in horror movies will never get old. I'll never not be annoyed. Becca sees Nana jumping around and explains to her brother that it's just like talking in your sleep at night. No, Becca, it's not. It's officially you're really gonna make me do this, Becca? Alright, here goes. See if you can spot the difference between pretty normal shit
eating a sandwich
and disturbing as fuck. Throughout the movie, the neighbors and people who know the grandparents keep visiting, but every single time they arrive, the grandparents aren't at home. A little too convenient for my taste, almost like it was all scripted, maybe? Now, the movie offers some comic relief. Okay, not comic relief, it's just boring scenes, but the sun is still up, so it's not scary. Then we have a scene of Tyler and Becca interviewing each other, talking about their dad, and the only significance of this scene will be revealed towards the end of the movie. But basically, Tyler is allegedly super chill, doesn't care that daddy left. Becca is upset. Later on, Becca realizes she needs random footage of her grandparents just doing everyday things, so she decides to follow them around, but she forgot that they're crazy. So when she finds Nana, she's laughing on her chair, rocking back and forth, and I'll be honest, that is enough for me to just finally nope the there, but Becca just walks towards her and touches her and asks if she's good. Survival instinct, 0%. And Nana says, I have the deep darkies. And I was like, damn, Nana with the dirty talk. She then proceeds to try and strangle herself with her scarf. And Becca is like, nope, gotta talk to someone who isn't messed up in the brain, and decides to go to Pop. She catches Pop off guard in the shed, and he immediately goes, I was just cleaning it. I was just cleaning it, really. And if you were staring at your phone, maybe scrolling through Reddit in this moment, you might have thought that he was perhaps masturbating, but really he was just rubbing a shotgun. Turns out the phrase, I was just cleaning it, can in fact be used in both instances. Mom sends a video message from where she's just dancing, having the time of her life, and Tyler already says what I was thinking. He says that she seems better off without them. And he's right. She is. Also, note that she didn't call them. Can't risk the kids saying something stupid and ruining the trip before it's over. It's another night and Nana is still running around. When does she get her sleep? Like, doesn't she wake up super tired? Anyway, the kids decide, you know what, enough is enough. Let's do it, and leave out a hidden camera in the living room for the night, and Nana somehow immediately finds it. Of course, the only reason she did find it is because that's the only way the jump scare would have worked. You know what I hate though? Cheap jump scares with no context. You cheap jump scares with no context. Nana then goes on to film herself grabbing a knife to send a message to the kids to stop filming an old innocent woman working out at night, I guess. If she maybe threw the camera and danced around it like an ape, this scene might have made some sense to me, but no, she just acts super scripted. Okay, Pop-Pop sits in front of the camera and tells the story of the white ghost with yellow eyes at the factory, where he was eventually fired, and it's really not hard to imagine why he was fired. If you had a coworker running around, yelling, "White thing, there he is again, James, watch out, right behind you," while you were having your random morning coffee, I think you'd be pretty annoyed too. You know what was really infuriating though? One of the neighbors, Stacy, finally gets to see the grandparents, and, well, I try not to spoil it up until now, in case you didn't know, even though I did make some deliberate jokes around it, so you might have guessed it. It's not their real grandparents. Okay, so Stacy, who seems very frustrated, asks them what they have done and not to touch her, and Pop-Pop is like, "Come to the back, just come to the back." Now, Stacy refuses at first. You never say yes to the first offer. But then the second time around, she's like, "Okay, sure, I'll come to the back so you can knock the shit out of me. Why not? I mean, I guess I should call the police first since I don't even know you people, and you're clearly occupying the house of my dear friends, which is pretty suspicious, but not suspicious enough for me to doubt you. So I'll just, you know what, I'll just have a sneak peek at the back there just to see what that white thing with the yellow eyes this guy keeps talking about is." And you know what else made me inexplicably angry? At some point, Becca is able to fix the camera of her laptop. They call mom and show the grandparents standing outside through the window via the laptop camera, basically. And the mom is like, Becca, Tyler, repeatedly for like a minute straight. She keeps saying their names, and I kept getting angrier and angrier. I mean, I guess they had to build up for the twist, but if I were a mom, not that I could ever be a mom, I mean, I heard that some men could in fact breastfeed, but don't ask me how I know this. No, I did not try to breastfeed my son. Please stop asking questions. Anyway, if I were a mom, I'm pretty sure I'd be screaming, "Get the out of there right now, because those are not your grandparents." But hey, I guess it's the cruise ship effect. Mom is super relaxed, got a lot of vitamin D from the sun, so she's chilling. She then goes on to calmly explain to her children that those are not their grandparents and asks, "Where are your grandparents?" Mom, remember how you never let your kids meet their grandparents and how they showed you who they think were their grandparents a second ago? Yeah, that usually means that they are clueless. They were conned. You need to stop being so chill, stop asking stupid questions, and start panicking like right now. Anyway, mom says, "Get out," go to her neighbor nearby, but the kids get ambushed by two old people and can't leave. That was sarcasm. Honestly, if I'm them, I'd just run past them, sprint like my life depends on it, which unironically it does. I mean, there's no way this old dude in a diaper full of shit catches up with you. The Nana, maybe. Sure, she's conditioned, working out every night. But Pop-Pop, no way. But they don't even try. Pop-Pop is like, "Let's play Yahtzee," and they're just like, "Okay, sure." Becca still, after all this shit, decides to calmly enter the oven to do one last cleanup. Survival instinct is even lower than 0. At this point, it's just dumb luck percentage. The grandparents are not dumb though. They can sense that the kids are starting to distance themselves, which is totally justifiable. Their facial expressions scream, "Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit." So naturally, Pop-Pop locks the door just in case. I'll admit, the Yahtzee night was probably my favorite part of the movie. The way Tyler gets lucky with the dice and starts accidentally winning, and Pop-Pop becoming more and more upset to him winning and saying, "Yeah, I know, you're using a tactic." And Tyler is like, "No, I'm just rolling the dice, man." That was pretty funny. But where's Becca though? Oh, of course. The classic sibling sellout. She literally leaves to change the batteries of her camera, leaving Tyler with two mentally sick people alone. Towards the end of the movie, we see just how alike the kids are with their grandparents. And I mean so alike. Becca is taken upstairs by Pop-Pop and is locked in a room with Nana, which sounds awful at first because Nana is sundowning. But then we see Becca headbutt a mirror, grab a shard out and stab the hell out of Nana, and suddenly you realize that was just an innocent old troubled lady, man. It didn't need to go all murder mode on her. What was she even doing? Just making some weird noises, climbing on Becca. And while I can see how that might be disturbing, I don't know if that was like murder territory, like self-defense thingy. How about Tyler? He starts losing it. Like he's remembering a memory of him and his dad playing football, and he pushes Pop-Pop to the ground screaming. Pop-Pop is literally incapacitated at this point, but Tyler doesn't stop. He bashes the the guy's head in with the refrigerator door several times. What? Okay, that escalated quickly. It suddenly turned into the Boys episode with lots of gore. And I know it was this underlying anger towards their father who abandoned them, but I don't know, man. Daddy issues usually don't end up in brutal killings. The worst part, we find out the mom never needed forgiveness. She was the one that didn't want to talk to them. So Becca chased the elixir for nothing. I hated the ending. Hear me out. The twist was cool, but I think a better twist would have been if the twist was twisted. Assume that these grandparents, the fake ones, were in fact their real biological grandparents. I mean, the kids should have at least ended up in therapy or something. What's up with that? Future sundowner, these two, I'm telling you. No way they shared any footage with the police, by the way, because initially you could argue that it was self-defense maybe, but the head bashing of an old man on the ground, not even moving, good luck. I don't think Saul Goodman gets you out of that one, Tyler. They're just chilling at the end, rapping and calmly combing hair in front of a mirror. They killed 2 people a few days ago, found their own grandparents' dead bodies in a basement. Tyler got shit smeared all over his face. Like, how do you wash that away as a misophobic person? You know, a person that gets obsessed with bacteria. Overall, though, enjoyable movie-ish. Also, I detected zero AI slop. Detected, what a stupid word. I meant to say general feel of the movie was authentic. Not something I can easily say in the more recent horror movies, not gonna lie. Slop almost everywhere. Jan almost everywhere. Sorry, random office moment. But yeah, you've just watched Fax Machine 9000. Thank you so much. Beep boop bop.